It's the Korean plea, and it's about a couple that Christ lived in them, and you'll see that as the story goes on. This came from the book The Gospel from Patmos by John Pauline. So I figure, okay, if he's written it, it's probably true. You know, sometimes we can read stories on the internet, and it's like, oh, I know that one's made up. Anyway, beat a young Korean to death. He was a Christian doing graduate studies at the University of Pennsylvania. At the time of the crime, the victim had just mailed a letter to his family in Korea. The parents, upon hearing what had happened to their son, traveled to the United States for the trial and sat silently throughout. As the trial ended, they asked for one opportunity to speak. The judge granted their request right after the reading of the guilty verdict and before the sentencing. The parents approached the judge's bench, and to the stunned, picture that, them kneeling before the judge, they begged the judge not to carry out the penalty he had in mind, but instead to release their sons that they had never had. We are Christians, they explained to the judge, and we want to show something of the grace that we have received from God to these boys. The ones who had done so much evil to them and their son would now be on the receiving end of a grace that only God could inspire. Amen. The judge, whom newspapers